Hello, this is Brian with Forest Hills Memorials. I'm here with my wife. We're going to video this process. So we often get asked how we repaint with lithochrome memorials that are in need. So we have a brand new marker here that we were doing a little bit of a quality control check. Not happy at all with how our guys put the litho in, so I'm getting ready to bring it over to the cemetery, and I want to re-litho it before I bring it over. So I'm going to show it to you, and you can see this is an all polished stone. So what we used to do in the past, you could spray your black lithochrome on here, and since it's polished, you could use a razor blade to take the excess off. Instead of doing that, we're going to go ahead, cover it with MonuMask, and that will create an area where the paint won't stick to, but it will go down into the V-cut lettering and do a much nicer job of making the letters black. So I'm going to video the whole process. Beth's going to do that, and then that way you can get kind of a step-by-step of the entire process. So the first thing you're going to need, can you see me? The first thing you're going to need is a very thin, like no nap roller. Like this is like a sponge. And then in the tray I've got MonuMask. So this is all cleaned off, so we're going to go ahead and apply the MonuMask onto the roller. And it is windy out here, so I do apologize if we're getting some wind noise on the video. But we're going to get it, and you don't want all of that extra MonuMask on the roller, so I just use a sheet of paper and kind of flatten it out on the roller. I'll go over in an area that doesn't have any V-cuts, and then I'll go over the stone, just a light thin coat. And as you get more of the mask on your roller, obviously it's going to last a little bit longer on the stone. But I always first go over an area with nothing, and then I'll bring it over, cover where the engraving's at. With the wind today, I'm going to go ahead and cover the entire top surface of the stone, just so I don't get any overspray anywhere. This stone will be going in ground, so I'm not as worried about getting any black lithochrome on the sides. So if you do decide to use a roller like a regular paint roller that has kind of a nappy, roller on it, what's going to happen is this mask is going to get down into your V-cut letters, and when you go to paint it, it's going to not get into the stone. It's going to stick on the mask that you have down in that V-cut area. So it's super important to use a foam roller. And then what we're going to do here, this is essentially the first coat we're going to put on. So we're going to go over this the entirety of the stone probably 3 times with light coats. And what I want it to look like in the end is more like this area where you've got a pretty concentrated area of this masking. So this is dry. This stuff dries super fast. It's like a really thick latex paint. So after I get these areas covered, once I'm done spraying it, this entire stone's going to be black because of the paint. But then I'm going to be able to grab the corner of this mask, and Beth actually likes doing that, so she might be the one to do it. But this stuff will just peel right off the stone, and then the black is left down inside the engraving, and it pulls all off with the mask. And I did give this stuff a stir. It's a little thick. I have found that using this in colder weather it does take a little bit longer for the mask to set up. We're in early March here, but we're experiencing some pretty warm temperatures. I think it's in the low 70s right now, so it's not taking much time at all for this stuff to dry out. So you can see I went on that roll pretty thick, and it didn't go down inside the V-cut area. So really this is looking pretty good. I'm gonna get kind of right here in this middle area a little bit better.
I think this stone sits above ground.
Does it? Mm-hmm. All right, well, we'll be careful then when we're spraying it. So that should do it. A little bit more down there. So that's what your stone's gonna look like once you put the masking on. And then we're gonna be using black. So that's white. Clear, white, clear. All right, here's black. So lithochrome makes the paint. I'm sure most of you in the industry are familiar with that. This is their aerosol version. They also offer it in gallons and quarts and little jars if you want. So you obviously want to shake your paint up just like you would with any other paint. You don't want to get any paint on you? So generally you want to stay, you know, maybe 6 inches away while you're spraying this on. I'm going to get a little bit closer today just so the wind doesn't carry it. So we're going to repaint all of this engraving. What I think the guys didn't do while they were doing this, they didn't put enough on, but then they also didn't spray it at different angles. You know, you want to go up and down, left and right. Make sure you get all the sidewalls of those V-cut areas. And the other nice thing with lithochrome paint is that it dries very, very quickly. So after this is sprayed on, black covers much better than white. So this will probably only need 1 coat. But after this is sprayed on, it won't take too much time, and we'll be able to pull this mask off. I'll make sure I get towards us on the bottom of these letters. So as you can see, there's a lot of paint on the stone, and none of it's going to actually remain on the stone. So I'm going to cut here, and I'm going to let this dry for just maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll cut back on to when we're pulling the mask off and show you how it looks. All right, so we're back. It's probably been 2 minutes, and Beth's going to start peeling this mask off. And this stone, without having a panel on it, being all polished, it's going to come off pretty easy. Sometimes when you have a panel, it sticks to it a little bit better. So you got to kind of work on it a little bit more. But as you can see, no paint on the polish, all down in that V-cut area. So it works exactly the same if you do have a frosted panel. So you'd want to clean the stone. We didn't have to do that with this one because the stone literally just got sandblasted. But the stencil's off, and this is a good way. It's almost like putting the stencil back on. It's a good way to paint it after the stencil's been taken off. So if you're out in the cemetery and you're doing this and you do have a panel, it does cover the panel just like it is this. So you would roll it over in a couple, 3 thin coats, and it'll peel off just like this is on the panel as well. Anything to say on the satisfaction of peeling MonuMask? It's fun times. So we did a project for a cemetery where we had a baby wall where they had an infant burial section, and it was probably, what was that, 7 foot tall?
Yes.
Probably 7 foot tall, and you know, probably 3 foot wide, and had, gosh, I don't know, you know, 100 plus names on it. Yeah, that actually tore your fingers up doing this, you know, just scraping all of it off. But instead of going through and painstakingly using a paintbrush and doing every letter, we were able to cover the entire piece with this MonuMask. After it was cleaned, obviously, you got to clean it very well. Lithochrome also makes what's called a litho solvent that you can go in there and clean all the letters out. So I definitely recommend doing that before this. But we did that on that project, and it, you know, it turned, you know, lots of weekend work into, I don't know, maybe a 2-3 hour project. So it saved a ton of time. It looked fantastic, and you can see kind of where we're getting at here with how this looks. We still have like the center of this O. You just got to use your finger, and then it peels right off, and then you're left with paint down in the lettering and not on the stone at all. So a fantastic job. Thanks for your help, honey. And if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. Feel free to subscribe if you'd like for future content, and we'll continue bringing you videos. Thanks.